My fiancé posted making him take a polygraph test before the wedding. If he loves me, he has nothing to hide. I commented, great idea. You first. Then I actually scheduled 2 tests and sent her the appointment. When the examiner asked her the questions I'd submitted about her fidelity, I, 33 male, was scrolling through Instagram last Tuesday when my fiancée, Emily 29 post showed up on my feed. The post already had dozens of likes and supportive comments from her friends. I froze, sandwiched halfway to my mouth, rereading it again and again, wondering if I had misread. But no, my fiancée, the woman I'd been with for 3 years and engaged to for 8 months, had just announced to the world that she was going to put me through a lie detector test before our wedding. I didn't even know whether to laugh or feel sick. Everything was set. The venue, the catering, the invitations. 4 months away from saying I do, and suddenly, she's turning our engagement into a public experiment in trust. I took a screenshot of her post and texted her, "We need to talk about this when you get home." She replied almost immediately, "About what?" "The test, babe. It's smart. My cousin did it before her wedding. It's just peace of mind." That phrase, peace of mind, echoed in my head. I typed back slowly, "You didn't even ask me. You just posted it publicly," she said, "because I knew you'd overthink it. If you have nothing to hide, why is it a problem?" That's when something in me shifted. My stomach tightened, and before I could stop myself, I typed, "Great idea. You first." Her typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. "What?" she finally wrote. I repeated, "If we're doing this, we both take one. You want transparency? Let's both be transparent." She sent a wall of messages after that. "That's ridiculous. I'm not the one who needs to prove anything. You're being controlling." But all I answered was the same line she'd used on me. "If you have nothing to hide, what's the problem?" When she came home later that night, I could feel the tension before she even spoke. Her perfume arrived first, then her voice, sharp, defensive, trembling slightly. "I can't believe you're making this about me," she said, dropping her purse on the counter. "You embarrassed me online," I said calmly. "You announced something that should have been private. It was just a joke." She tried. "A joke with your real name and photo." She bit her lip, eyes glistening, and muttered, "You're twisting everything." I leaned against the kitchen counter, folded my arms, and said evenly, "If we're doing this, it goes both ways. Equal transparency." The silence that followed was heavy enough to hear the fridge humming. Finally, she grabbed her phone, said she was staying at her friend Kara's place for the night, and slammed the door behind her. Maybe I should have cooled off. Maybe I should have let it go. But I didn't. Instead, I opened my laptop, found a certified polygraph examiner in downtown Seattle, and scheduled 2 appointments, hers on Saturday, mine the following Tuesday. The total cost, $800. I even sent her the confirmation email with the message, "You first, love. Lead by example." She called me at work the next morning, her voice high-pitched and furious. "You can't just schedule this without asking me," she snapped. "You literally told the internet I was taking one," I reminded her. "I'm just following through." "This is insane," she said. "Then cancel it," I replied. "But if you do, I'll cancel mine and leave a comment on your post explaining why." There was a long pause before she whispered, "You're such a jerk." "No," I said softly. "I'm being fair." That Saturday, she barely spoke to me as I drove us downtown. Her face was pale, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched her purse. The examiner, Mr. Paulson, was a calm, grey-haired man who'd clearly seen hundreds of nervous couples before. I handed him a printed sheet with my questions, the kind of things you never expect to have to ask the person you plan to marry. Have you been physically intimate with anyone else during our relationship? Have you lied about where you were or who you were with? Are you hiding anything that could affect our marriage? While Emily was in the room, I sat outside, watching the rain drip down the window. It was strange. I'd never thought of her as someone who could betray me, but something about her panic made me uneasy. After nearly 2 hours, the door opened. Paulson called me in. Emily was sitting in the waiting area, her hands pressed between her knees, her eyes glassy. "Mr. Davis," Paulson said quietly, "I'll be direct. Your fiancé showed deceptive responses to multiple questions." The room tilted slightly. "Which ones?" I asked. He slid a paper toward me. "Sexual intimacy with others, deception. Lying about whereabouts, deception. Hiding something that could affect the marriage, strong deception." His tone was professional, but my heart was pounding in my ears. When I walked out, Emily looked up, her face crumpled. "The test is wrong," she said immediately. "They're unreliable." I didn't speak. I just looked at her, and after a long, fragile silence, she whispered, "It was before we got engaged. It didn't mean anything." And just like that, the future I'd imagined, the house, the vows, the family, shattered into something cold and unrecognizable. But that's only where the real story began. She said it so casually that for a moment, I thought I'd misheard her. "It was before we got engaged, Liam. It doesn't count." Her voice cracked on the last word, as if she already knew how weak that excuse sounded. We were sitting in the car outside the examiner's office, the rain pattering against the windshield, and I could feel my pulse in my throat. "What doesn't count?" I asked quietly. She took a shaky breath. "There was this guy at work, his name's Ryan. It happened twice, but it was before you proposed. It was just physical." The word physical landed like a slap. 2 years together at that point, talking about moving in, planning trips, sharing families, and she'd slept with someone from her office, twice. And now she was saying it didn't count because it was before I proposed. My laugh came out bitter, dry. "So it's like cheating with an expiration date." Her face twisted. "That's not what I mean. It was a mistake, Liam. I chose you, after you'd already chosen him twice. It didn't mean anything." She yelled suddenly, pounding her fist on the dashboard. I said I was sorry, but she wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. The irony burned. She had been the one to post publicly about a lie detector test to verify that I was faithful while she'd been carrying around a secret like this for years. We drove home in silence. Every few blocks, she'd start to say something, then stop. I watched her reflection in the window, her jaw trembling, her eyes darting as if she was rehearsing apologies in her head. When we got home, she followed me into my office as I opened my laptop. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice small now. "Seeing what we lose if we cancel the wedding." "You're not serious," she whispered, "over something that happened 3 years ago." "You lied about it for 3 years," I said without looking up. "That's the problem. You can't just throw everything away. We've built a life together." I finally turned to her. "We built a life on lies, Emily. You decided for both of us what I should know and what I shouldn't." Her phone started buzzing. It was her mother. I didn't say anything as she answered, walked into the hallway, and I could still hear snippets. "He's being unreasonable." "It was before." "No, Mom, he's losing it." When she came back, she looked more composed, her eyes glassy but dry. Mum says you're overreacting, she said, as if her mother's approval might fix everything. I let out a humorless laugh. Of course she does. That night, Emily's mum Diane called me herself. Her voice was sharp and condescending, the way it always was when she tried to remind me that I was lucky her daughter had chosen me. Liam, I heard about this nonsense. Bethany's distraught. You're not really cancelling the wedding over one mistake, are you? One mistake that happened twice. I asked. You're being cruel. She was young. It was before you proposed. She cheated, Diane. Then she lied. Then she demanded I take a polygraph test. Does that sound like a small mistake to you? Silence. Then the click of her hanging up. By Sunday morning, the entire thing felt surreal. The woman I thought I knew, who I trusted completely, had turned into a stranger overnight. She'd gone from insisting I prove my loyalty to admitting she had none. When I came into the living room, she was sitting on the couch with puffy eyes and a blanket wrapped around her, like a child who wanted to disappear. Please, Liam, she whispered, don't do this. Don't cancel everything. I sat across from her. You demanded I take a polygraph. You wanted proof. You got it. Just not the proof you expected. It was years ago, she said again, her voice breaking. Can't you just move past it? If I hadn't pushed for you to go first, I'd be marrying someone who cheated on me and lied about it for years. How do I move past that? For a second, her eyes hardened. You're punishing me, she hissed. You just want to win. I exhaled slowly. No, Emily. I just don't want to start a marriage with a lie. That's when she stood up suddenly, her voice rising again. Fine, cancel it. But I'm not paying for anything. You can deal with the losses, since you're the one ending it. She stormed off into the bedroom, slamming the door so hard that a picture frame fell off the wall. Later that night, I heard her packing a bag. She didn't say goodbye. I just heard the door open, then close quietly behind her. The apartment felt bigger than it ever had, too quiet, too still. I sat on the couch and stared at the dark TV screen, and for the first time since the whole thing started, I felt the weight of it settle in. The love of my life had betrayed me, lied to me, humiliated me, publicly and somehow. I still missed her, but deep down, beneath the heartbreak and confusion, something colder had started to form, a strange kind of clarity, because I finally understood that love without trust is just hope in disguise. And I was done hoping for someone who couldn't even be honest about her own past, and yet, the real fallout hadn't even started. I stood up and walked toward the bedroom, leaving my wife crying behind me. I needed space to breathe. The room was cold, the yellow light casting shadows over our wedding photos on the wall. Everything there once meant happiness. I remembered the early days of my startup, working late nights while she brought me coffee and said, "You just need to succeed. I'll handle everything else." But now, when the company finally had value, she wanted to sell it so the family wouldn't have to struggle. It wasn't that I didn't understand her. It was that she no longer understood me. That company was my soul, my sweat, my sleepless years, everything I'd built from nothing. I sat down, opened my laptop, and stared at the numbers. The investor's message was still there. "If you agree to sell, I'll transfer the money tomorrow morning." I looked at the message, then back at our wedding photo. I couldn't tell what I was trying to save, the company or my pride. The door opened. She walked in. "Please, we can't keep fighting like this," she said softly. I looked up and replied calmly, "I'm not fighting you. I'm fighting not to lose myself." For a moment, silence filled the room. Maybe our marriage, just like the company, had reached a crossroads, and neither of us knew which way to go.